Okay, good morning and welcome to Mirador TV.
Yep.
We're filming live from the White Hart Hotel. It's currently 9:48. We are 3 minutes late. Sorry about that. I'm Max Hurd and I'm here with Stuart Dolby.
Right, and as Jude Ronnie used to say, it's good morning from me and good morning from him.
So we're going to look a little bit behind the headlines about more cultural stuff, and you are going to do Energy Matters during the show as well.
That's my weekly program.
Your weekly program, yeah, on Wednesday. So we have some interesting photos here. This is a quote. Mind-blowing pictures from the universe as it looks over 13 billion years ago. Now, I'm a little bit confused. I don't quite know how you take a photo of 13 billion years ago.
What is the universe? Does it include us and everybody else, or what? What is the universe? You can't be any planet around, can
No, definitely not. There's definitely a life out there.
you?
So they took this photo with an 8 billion pound telescope. What telescope was it? Not the James Webb telescope.
No, the other one, was it Humble or one?
No, it was the James Webb, not the Hubble.
Hubble.
James Webb is new. It's fairly new, I think. They took it. So I don't know. I don't know how you take a photo of 13 billion years ago, but the photos are really quite something. So I don't know how well you're going to see this, but there's a bit of glare. So these are the photos. This is the universe, and that is some stars. Very descriptive. And then here on this one, we have different galaxies, and I have no idea what this is, but this looks incredible. That's something. That's a photo of space. So, I mean, this is a pretty good camera. It's pretty good from the James Webb telescope. That cost £8 billion. That's a lot of money. That's ridiculous. I can't even comprehend that amount of money. But have you found any stories recently that you found quite interesting?
Well, just to go back on that one about the universe. Not so long ago, there was the anniversary of the Americans landing on the moon. Wasn't it?
Supposedly.
There was some, yeah, right. And the Telegraph, has not noticed for censorship on that. A cartoon showing two little green men who come from Mars to the moon, and one of them said to the other, I don't know who's the guy who landed on the moon.
Neil Armstrong.
Neil Armstrong. I don't care about Neil Armstrong coming here. I just feel that he should go back to where he belongs, like Trump, building a wall.
That was quite funny. Do you think there is alien life out there?
I don't know. I really don't know.
I mean, look at this.
Yeah.
I don't know how big that is, but
well, I mean, as far as we know about the local ones like Mars and Jupiter and all these things, they're just too hot, aren't
they? Jupiter, yeah. Mars, not so much.
That's why the people from Twitter are advocating that Elon Musk goes to Mars.
Well, he is going to
so
Mars.
He can actually, no, he's going to fry to death, isn't he?
No, you can walk on the surface. Mars is certainly hot, but it is livable.
What, for human life?
Oh, yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Where's your evidence?
We're on our way to Mars right now. We're sending packages up there to start building buildings on Mars. Yeah.
Well, I didn't
Have you not
know.
been following SpaceX?
No.
Well, it's been very
So
interesting.
they're building buildings there, are they?
They are, yeah, they're getting ready to send the packages up via rockets.
So
It
in a
takes
Martian
four-
will put solar panels on the top of them.
I mean, solar powered probably is the way. Yeah.
Well, then these little houses won't need any heating at all.
Probably air conditioning. Air conditioning. How do you get air conditioning when there's no air? But I reckon within your lifetime that you will see cities on Mars.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I and certainly within my lifetime there'll be back and forth travel between the planets. I really do think within your lifetime you will see people living on Mars.
Well, it won't happen to me, even if I do survive, because I'm getting bored with going to Gatwick, let alone going to an airport to go to Mars, as I'd say.
You know this whole billionaire space race that's going on. All these billionaires have their own rocket companies and going into space.
Well, it's an ego trip, isn't it?
I don't know if it's an ego trip. I think there's something more to it, especially since they're building buildings on Mars. Do they know something we don't?
Well, obviously they do, but I mean, it's sort of all these billionaires want to be richer than the one. I mean, when you get rich, right, there are all kinds of things, funny things happen. I know about this because when I was in the oil business, I knew some very rich people, and the guy who bought me out. I said, "Look, you're a billionaire. What? Why? Okay, you can't leave the money. Why do you want more money?" He said, "It's not the amount that matters, Stuart. It's the chase." Fine. Now, there was another guy who had his yacht in Monte Carlo, where Abramovich also had his yacht. And this man apparently went around Monte Carlo saying, "It's not fair. It's not fair. He's got a much better yacht than I have." So these billionaires fight one another. Look at Philip Green, right? He put his wife in Monte Carlo to avoid taxes. Yet he shut down. What was it? Not Marks and Spencer's. The other.
M&S.
No, the other ones. Well, anyway, he cancelled the pensions for 23,000 employees in his shop, and he had £3 billion in the bank and 3 yachts. Well, where's the fairness in that? When you actually, by shutting down the chain, 23 people pensions gone.
23,000, not 23.
Yeah. It's wrong, really. It's all wrong.
Yeah. Well, so did you say the billionaire that bought your company was gay?
Yeah.
Okay. Is he probably the only gay billionaire?
Probably not the only one. Well, being having £1 million quid these days, you won't even get a cup of tea for it. Inflation rates.
Is $1 million, in the grand scheme of things, is $1 million a lot?
Well, it depends on where you're coming from, doesn't it? Yeah, it's an awful lot for somebody
If you're in rural Africa, then yes, $1 million is sure quite a lot. But here, I mean, you can buy a house, I suppose, a decent one.
Oh, just about. It depends. Look at what prices in this town now.
Yeah, they're getting pretty high. I don't know. You can get like some incredible. I've been looking at houses recently. You can get some incredible, huge houses up north for like so cheap.
Oh yeah.
I don't particularly like up north, but I mean the house prices are extremely cheap.
Oh, okay. My stepson, he's got a house. That's quite a big, 300,000 quid. Cost you 600,000 for a much smaller house down here. It's the whole point is, Max, there's just not enough houses in the country, and Mrs. Thatcher did a great disservice by abandoning council houses. There are not enough houses being built. And
There's not enough houses for what? Have a declining birth rate. Surely, if we're not replacing ourselves, why do we need more houses?
Well, because we're going to have more immigrants or people coming over here.
So we're going to pave over this natural landscape, which we don't have much of. to build houses.
For a country this size, we have marvellous green spaces. If you look at the 7 national parks, if you look at the South Downs, if you go up to the Midlands, you get the Peak District with it. Then you've got the Lake District with it. There's lots of wonderful. Look at Lewis. Look at the green spaces down here. There's one opposite my garden. There's one down there. There's the downs all around, and so forth and so on. So for a small country, we do have a lot of green spaces, and that's because of legislation.
Apparently, only 1% of the entire country's land area is built on houses.
1%.
1%.
Yeah. Well, that's 1% of quite a large number, you know.
But I don't know. I just feel like, well, I can't really say how we feel. I'm on YouTube. Don't want to get us gone. But have you heard about the mortgages? There's possibly going to be a new mortgage scheme that can last for 50 to 80 years.
Oh,
50
yeah.
to 80 year
Well,
mortgages.
I must do it. I've been doing it for my stepdaughter at the moment. You can now get mortgages from Lloyd's, for example, until you're 85.
Until you're 85 or 85 years.
Until you're 85.
Okay. Well,
What time was in my day, right? You could get a 30-year mortgage till you became 60, sort of thing, right? Now, you can get mortgages that go up to 1985. So you're paying it off, say you're in your 50s, say, you've still got 20 years to do it.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
How old were you when you bought your first house?
How old was I?
Yeah.
Let's see. 31.
31. Okay. That seems quite late back then, was it? Or was it that sort of average? Or did everyone already have a house and you were kind of late to it?
Well, I didn't really get the money until I was 30.
Mm.
Well, if you look at it this way, the house is in New Road in Lewis.
Yeah.
And when I was walking, I was trying to get quite a lot of money. And I bought the house there for 11,000 quid.
11,000 quid. What was your... So, hang on. £11,000?
Yeah.
What was your salary at the time?
My salary.
A yearly salary?
Well, I didn't have a yearly salary as such because I was working for Financial Times, okay? And I was seconded to a magazine they owned in Hong Kong. So I actually...
like, sort of around how much were you making a year? Were you making like £1,000 a year, £2,000, £5,000, £10,000?
No, I was making rather more than that because I didn't actually have a salary because I was technically freelance for about a quarter. And then I worked for other papers, and also because I knew the stock exchange in Hong Kong, I knew about it. I used to take Cambodian silver up and set it up there, and I used to invest in Cambodia, and I set it up, and then I invested only on a index. And I think, right, I first went there, the Hang Seng index was 250 points. In 3 years, it went up to 660. So I came away in real terms today, 3 million quid. I had 160,000 in dollars. That was my net wealth. And I was making money because if you're in a war zone, right, what happens is that the local currency goes into freefall, right? So if you would go to Cambodia at one time, the exchange rate was 7 reals to the US dollar, right? A couple of weeks later, after the war got running, it cost 16,000 reals. So you had to take a rucksack just to buy a cup of coffee. Seriously.
Yeah, I've seen photos of like Venezuela and Germany carrying wheelbarrows of money to buy bread and milk.
Mm.
How bad do you think? Do you think it can get to that point in this country with inflation?
No, I don't think we can. I mean, I don't think the Bank of England have done very well in managing the interest rates and inflation.
I think the inflation was done on purpose.
No, it's not down purpose. Only would actually it on, but it happens when there's surplus money around, when people get more money, which they're doing now, because if they reduce taxation. And I don't think inflation will last forever, because people will actually start this.
Well, they're talking about resetting the currency globally. Have you heard about this?
Yes.
So they're talking about doing a currency reset.
Well, that's mad. Look what's happened to the current one. What's it called? Crypto.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a disaster.
Yeah.
What you can understand, right? When back in the day, in the 15th century, right, do you know what the currency was?
What?
Daffodils. We exchanged daffodils. It's true.
Seriously?
Yeah. Daffodils is what you traded in, right? And basically, what the Americans did gave a value to their dollar, saying that the dollar is worth so much gold. And the dollar came, when we talk about the dollar, that means that mine's £5, something like that.
Right.
And that's what happened. You ascribe a value. Gold didn't have any value apart from building people's teeth. But it actually, once you've given the dollar that kind of value, it sticks to it, right? That is the value of dollars. That is the value is that much. The dollar is worth five.
When did America go off the gold standard?
In 1973, Nixon came off the dollar off that value.
Do you think the gold standard is a better standard than this we have today? Because right now it's all based on theory.
Well, you can change. You can make it platinum. But then you have to say
Do you think that is a good idea? They're going back to gold standard.
Well, I think you've got to actually give a value to your currency.
Yeah.
So if you've got a pound, you've got to have some kind of value, how to value it. And the way that it's valued is the amount of gold.
Right.
You with me?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm following. Okay. Okay. So we'll do a show with a break, and then we will do energy matters.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll do we'll show. Let's see what videos we have that we can show. Um, 1906 battle. TDM is called Phoenix. I don't think that's anything. It's long. We'll show this again. I'm not sure what it is, so it'll be a bit of a mystery. Hopefully, it's good. Let's show this. It's been quite slow today. Just loading. I'm sure you've seen we're having issues today. The Wi-Fi isn't very strong around here. There was an issue with continuous stream. Try restart your browser. Well, restart the browser. I think we can have a break. Okay, that one is still a different one. We'll go 6 minutes long. Hopefully, this will work.
The stars, the stars, didn't hear like ghosts.
I don't think this one's going to work either. Oh, my goodness. Oh. What did you start it? What was that about you starring in this?
No, just complete union like ghosts.
Oh, no, sorry.
Ghost.
Many people find commuting by train tiresome. But one of the pleasures of taking a train to London is that it passes through some of the most beautiful countryside in the UK. None more so than the view of the countryside as the line approaches Clayton Tunnel, just north of Brighton. The tunnel is the longest on the line, at 1.25 miles, running under the South Downs. It's unusual because the entrance is not the usual railway brick. It is instead designed to look like the gateway to a castle. On top is a cottage built for the railway's lightkeeper in 1849. The tunnel itself was opened in 1841 and the cottage added later. Idyllic. But after 1861 it became a nightmare, or at least for those who believe in ghostly goings-on. In August of that year, a night train left Brighton, travelling north to London. Partway through the tunnel, it stopped at what it thought was a danger signal from the lightman. The engine driver was correct. The railway official had indeed given a danger signal, but the train had rushed past him before pulling up. Thinking the train had cleared the tunnel, the unfortunate lightman had the all clear to a following train. And it slammed into the back of the first train in the dark, killing 23 and injuring 176 more. It was the worst ever accident on the line. And people walking on the downs over the underground passage have reported hearing the screams of the passengers as the trains pile into each other. The line is now also a direct line from Lewes. I've travelled through that tunnel 1,000 times. I've never heard a scream other than the screech of the wheels and brakes. But I've never walked over the downs at that point either. I turned down an invitation to stay in the cottage overnight. In fact, I get tense each time I go into the tunnel, knowing what happened more than 165 years ago. My fellow passengers carry on reading their newspapers, obviously oblivious to both the tragedy and the ghosts. I could sometimes scream at them. Ghosts of Clayton Tunnel. Eerie. Bloody eerie.
Okay, welcome back. That was a short clip of the crash that happened in 1880 something. I can't remember. Anyway, you are ready to do Energy Matters.
I'm certainly am, yes.
Right, let me get you lined up on camera and you do Energy Matters. And I'll see what's going on behind the headlines. All right, let me know when you're. Give me a 2-minute warning and I'll get back there.
Right. Oh, I'm going through now, so
Yep, go for it. Yep.
Right. Okay. Should we start? Let's start now. I'm Stuart Dorothy. I'm not just presenter for Middle Television. I'm also its energy correspondent. I'm also the editor and publisher of greenbarrel.com, which is a website aiming at increasing investment in renewable energy. Today, I think that as the energy crisis is not top of the hit parade as far as new questions are concerned, it would be useful to go back from the start of this energy crisis and where we are right to date to today, as it were. So, to begin with, there was an energy crisis in the years 1992 to 1994. I think that's correct. When Edward Heath was there was a strike, which actually meant that there was an energy shortage. And I can remember us sitting at home cooking our supper over a primer stove with lighting a house of candles. Anyway, that passed. Edward Heath lost his job, and there was a 3-day strike, and he suddenly realised that there was abundant gas in the North Sea, and that gas could become the energy supply of the moment. And okay, so things trundled along until Mr. Thatcher, root of all evil in my opinion, privatised the energy companies, and this led to an oligopolistic cartel of six suppliers known as the Big Six, who picked what they liked with energy prices. The Big Six were British Gas English, EDF, which is French, E.ON, which is German, MPR, which is German, SSE, and Scottish Power gave us 6, right? And they were putting their price in a cavalier way. They were putting price up stuff that became a political issue. The Italy band, who actually, in 2012, I think it was, said if I get into, or was it 29, I can't remember, but then he said if I get into power, I will actually bring in an energy cap. Of course, he didn't get into power in 2010. Cameron got into power. So, but he was spooked with the idea of an energy cap. And he asked his Competition and Mergers Authority what he should do about the energy crisis. And the Competition and Mergers Authority, which are lazy people, took about a year ago, so by 2015, 16 period, they said, yes, you're absolutely right. The public are being ripped off to the tune of £1.4 billion a year for their energy supply. And CMA said to Cameron, you must find the cheapest suppliers to actually take over. Well, there weren't very many. But then a lot of people suddenly piled into it, thinking there's a lot of money to be made. And unfortunately, the new companies weren't really fit for purpose because they didn't know about energy, so that basically wouldn't go through the roof. And they didn't, so they so British Gas said they would do the energy cap for this, but the energy bill was say £1,000 for a year. Then one of the partner companies would say, well, we can do it for £800. So they really weren't fit for purpose. When gas price started to really, really go up, then all these companies weren't fit for purpose and went bust. 29 of them went bust. That happened before, and now you know what happened after that. But these 29 companies were still hanging around, and they were bailed out by the public because they actually, well, the government in fact, just actually gave them the money to carry on. So that means that the big cartel of 6 people were actually getting money from sex to actually support these companies, which is bizarre, really. And there was huge credit that was piling up for consumers and so on. And so what happened next is when these businesses started going bust, the government didn't have a clue what to do about these energy cartels. By 2005, the SSE became a transition company into renewable energy. Anyway, there were still 5 of them putting prices up and down as they saw fit. And so, order to keep the thing down, an energy cap was brought in, I think it was 2018 by Mrs. May, and the energy cap would be announced every April 1 and October 1. So in 2021, the energy cap went up by 10% in April and 12% in October 1. That meant 22%, which means the average bill for a 3-bedroom house is £1,977. I got that wrong. It went up to 1,000. Yeah, 1,977, which is almost £2,000 a year. And that meant the energy cap set their price where it was set. So you had a lot of companies with, getting bills of £2,977. And in 2022, I began to say, as Martin Lewis was more of an expert than I am, that on April 1st was going to be another 700 quid. That takes up to £2,000, right? Yeah, I got the earlier figure on it, 1,277, and then another 700 quid was going to go in on October 1st, and it did. Right? We get around. Well, yeah, 21 April 21, it went up to 2,000 quid. Okay, so we go along, and we decided that 2,000 quid meant fuel poverty for quite a lot of people. So what did the government do? They didn't have a clue what to do about it. First, it said, what we're going to do is lift the VAT on energy supply, and take away green levies. And in fact, they did neither of those. And secondly, they said they were going to have a contract for difference. Now, a lot of people won't know what a conference difference is, but let me tell you, conference difference where the government agrees with the companies at a certain price, right? Say it was sort of, I don't know, £60 a megawatt hour, something like that. If the price would go above that level, the government would have to pay the difference. If it went below, the companies had to went below. They had to pay the difference. Now, conference difference worked very, very well for renewable energy. Because building offshore wind farm would cost less than charge, but the bill never went down because they only want more money. So that but with the gas, with the energy, domestic gas supply, the government had to pay the difference, and the companies had to pay the difference. It went down. And of course, it did go down. So the companies had to find out to pay the bill. And then it went round. After 2022, the leader of Ofgem, Jonathan Brearley, said that to the select committee, said it was a mistake to have all these small companies come in, and I apologise for that. However, I have to tell you that in October 1st, energy got up £800 and taking it to £3,000. And that's the situation we're in now. Okay? So what's been done about it? Nothing at all. Save that Ofgem is giving money to the cartel of 5 people, 5 companies, rather, to keep going, basically. And these companies, right, were like the big 6. They were paying their directors huge fat salaries, and they were giving a lot of money away to the directors of the home. And they were actually making fortunes, are now still making fortunes. And so what did they do next? Well, what they did next was before the energy cap was going to go up by £800, Rishi Sunak, the chancellor at the time, said that we're going to give each house £60, and there'll be £400 for all the homesteads in the country, and that should help the consumer. Then this is when Jonathan really went before the energy the select committee, and actually talked about the 100 quid that was to come. So basically, him giving that money was like Peter paying for Paul. Us, the people, gave the money to Paul to actually ameliorate their energy bills. In fact, it would go over to Peter, which would go to five energy suppliers, big energy suppliers. So they're making money, and by October, there's going to be fuel poverty to the extent of, because of we're going to have bills of £3,000. And that's where we are now. And it's all for us. And by the way, it's not just the directors of the energy suppliers. Jonathan really here salary increases and holiday pay. The three complete mess of things, and he gets 310,000. Something wrong here, I think. Anyway, that's what I've got to say today. Very nice to talk to you. Thank you.
All right.
Is that okay?
Yeah. So we still got some time left. We still got time to continue, and found some more headlines from the internet. Okay. Let me put on a quick scene in suffix to catch your breath. So, yeah, 2 minutes. Okay, so hello, welcome back to Miro. So I have found some more interesting articles. There's one here from Sky News, who, I'll be honest, I think they're fear-mongering right now. Monkeypox can become the next epidemic if urgent action isn't taken, experts warn. Monkeypox patient afraid to speak out over stigma. So have you seen this? What's going on with the stigma around monkeypox?
No.
About who's catching monkeypox?
No, I've only seen a couple of things on TV about hands.
Yeah, there's 1,700 cases in the UK, and the people 1,700 cases in the UK, and it's most commonly transmitted in the LGBT community, specifically for gay and bisexual men, is who are getting monkeypox the most. Yes, because one of the most common ways for monkeypox to be transmitted is through sexual contact.
Really?
You can also catch it other ways.
Do you mean anal contact? In terms of if it's a
no, I don't think so. But I think any sort of sexual contact can transmit it. But bisexual and gay men are the people who, do stuff the most.
Yeah, but they always come in for it, don't they? And God knows what else they've all.
Yeah. Well, it could be transmitted through vaginal sex, couldn't it?
Well, it was actually for a long time thought to be a gay disease. You know, it was thought that it was just a gays, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Until they were corrected.
Well, it was mostly then.
Yeah.
And so is this monkeypox. You can also get it through skin-to-skin contact.
Skin to skin.
Not skin-to-skin, but like if you touch a scab.
Oh yeah.
So hotels are a common place to get monkeypox as well. So if they don't change the bed sheets,
What are we doing here then? I forget.
if they don't change the bed sheets or the bed sheets aren't washed properly and someone's scab had come off on the bed, then you can get monkeypox transmitted through that. That's another common way, but it's most commonly through intercourse, but weirdly mostly through men in the gay community. But that's why people are afraid to speak out about monkeypox over the stigma. That's what they're talking about. Because there's a stigma around it that it's a quote, and this is not me saying it, this is just what I've heard, that it's quote a gay disease, like AIDS. AIDS 2, I suppose. But yeah, that's from the headline. Do you know how many people died from monkeypox?
No.
0.
Yeah. Right. So they go around the rest of their lives looking like a monkey. Huh?
No, it only lasts a couple weeks.
Well, look, it's quite interesting, some of the stuff in the FT. For example, this whole question of schools now.
Of what?
Schools.
Schools.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just find them. There we go. That is interesting. Right. Schools in England have warned they will be forced to cut back spending on building projects, maintenance, and even teaching staff as energy costs continue to spiral. By the House of Commons Library estimated that school energy bills rose by as much as 83% in the first 3 months of this year, compared to 1921. Fresh concerns come as teaching unions threaten to strike action over a long-standing pay dispute, and after inflation hit 9.1% in May, driven by what's it? Step survey. So it's still lurking, isn't it? It's like a toxic undercurrent going on.
Yeah, my school's budget got cut. They could only pay me a certain amount of bursary. So they used to be able to pay me full, and then their budget got cut, and they were like, "We can't pay you. We can't give you much money anymore." It wasn't their fault. They just got cut. I don't know particularly why. But there was another article I saw. 30% price hike in deliveries for your meals
because of the petrol prices.
Yeah. So this is specifically talking about delivery. Sorry. Deliveroo has had the biggest. Deliveroo has had the biggest hike. But Uber Eats and Just Eat will cost more for deliveries as well. Around 30% price of the order is going up. I mean, I doubt you use Deliveroo, do you?
Not at the moment, no.
No, I don't.
But they might come.
Well, do you not get? Well, I'm sure you might have to use Deliveroo for that reason. But I haven't someone I know who gets like food delivered to them because the person's quite old and can't get around.
A lot of people need the council for it.
Yeah, they get like meals delivered. It's like a government program or something because they can't get out of their house.
Oh, this one is really my ears.
Okay.
Seneca rejects 1 billion bid for small rival. Orchestrating its next move following an offer from yes. Now it so happens I got some of these shares. This is only the first bid, so it's bound to go up. So this afternoon, I'm going to go straight to my ISA and buy a few more Serica. My ISA is just a hobby for me. I'm not expecting to make it. It's like people say to me, "Oh, stock exchange is gambling, it's gambling." I said, "It's not gambling. It's about research, right?" And I researched every company before because that's what I knew how to find out what they were going to do. At one stage, it got a bit tricky because I made such good friends with some of the share people that they give me inside information. So if I took that information and published it, I would have got really badly done. So anyway, let's just see. Look, started pointing out shareholders keeping a close eye on these boys take the North Egg in UK waters. But they don't know. That's offshore Shetland. Offshore Shetland is not very good for oil drilling because of the tenacious rocks. Oh yeah, we live in very interesting times.
This is from the BBC. Video games prescribed by doctors to treat ADHD. Video games are being prescribed by doctors.
What, to prevent ADHD?
Yeah. I don't know how you prevent ADHD. Well, it's like unwind, I suppose.
I've got ADHD.
So I guess you need to hop on Call of Duty, I guess.
On the country, you see, because I went to, I'm officially diagnosed at the hospital. What they do is they give you 9 questions to ask. So on the attention deficit, it was the reason I went to that, because I can't sit still and I keep it out on the writer, and it's very bad for me. And I only scored 4 questions.
Out of
9.
Oh, that's not very good.
On the second bit, on the hyperactivity, right?
Mm.
I scored 7 out of 9. Which meant I didn't know I had ADHD, right? And that meant I was impulsive and did things, so forth. I went to see my doctor and he said, "I think your ADHD has done you very well. You wouldn't have done such amazing things that you have done. I wouldn't have got to cover wars if I didn't have it. You see what I mean?" Which is quite weird.
Mm. So you're medically retarded then?
Medically retarded?
Yeah.
How can I be mentally retarded?
Yeah, well, no, you said you got officially done at a hospital.
Diagnosed at hospital.
Diagnosed.
No, it doesn't affect my mental.
I know, I'm joking around. This is from The Sun. Milking it. Supermarkets hike milk prices. Some have been increased by 16%. That's a lot. And milk is, well, everyone buys milk, so. What? Oh, Jesus. Okay. So they have all the prices. So they have prices for 2-pint milk cartons of semi-skimmed milk. That's what we get in 4 pints. So last week in Sainsbury's, it was £1.05. It's now this week £1.15. At Morrison's, it was £1.05. It's now £1.15 as well. Aldi, it was 99p. Now it's £1.15. Lidl's hasn't changed. It's still £1.05. And Tesco's hasn't changed yet. But the price increase is coming on the 13th of July, which is the day this article came out yesterday. 16% rise in price in milk. That's a lot. But I want to have a look at actually go into this article properly from the BBC about doctors prescribing video games. In 2020, Evandor XR became the first game to be approved by the US the FDA to be used as treatment for ADHD in children. I think video games is not what's helpful, but I mean, I guess trust the science. Whatever the doctors say must be true. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me that you would prescribe video games to children.
Mm.
Anything else in there?
Well, there's quite a lot of interesting stuff. Gasoline price surges pushes costs up further than you just talked about. Mm.
Let's put this quick energy show on whilst you look for the headline.
Let me have a look at what my
Well done, the energy companies. They're full of bright ideas to help their customers. Now they've made power so expensive that for an average house such as this, you can't afford to heat it. So you don't need appliances such as this. But that means you also don't need a fridge, because you can keep your groceries cool and fresh without it. The house is cold enough. Well done, chaps.
Okay, so another story is that the Met Office have issued a red warning for heat wave for next week. That is supposedly going to get to 40 degrees. I'm not sure if it will, but that'll be the highest ever recorded. But Jesus, it's going to get hot. Have you ever been in 40-degree weather?
Yes.
What's it like?
Very hot.
Oh, it's hot, is it? I wouldn't have guessed.
Well, do you know where it was?
What?
It was in Goats Island. You know where Goats Island is?
No.
It's on a little island between. It was 45 degrees at that time, the hottest place in the world. And so I put on my shapes gear, and somebody drove me back to the Omani capital. It was bloody hard. I can't take the heat because I've got very pale skin. I just burn.
Yeah.
So I cover myself in the
So thing is, you're gonna need to wear a hijab next week.
No, it's not for ladies now.
Oh, what is it? I don't know. I can't remember what they're called. The white suits that Saudis wear. Not suits, but like blankets. I don't know. Oh god, this guy, I'm still making it sound worse and worse every time I speak. What else is there? Anything?
I think you covered the waterfront. I don't know who this more daunt is. Suddenly,
Okay.
So, German came to town. Penny Moreland. Second runner. After
I think her claim to fame was she was lazy. She didn't turn up. Like must have lockdown or something. I think it was her. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember.
Oh, former Labour reverses his run campaign. That plays outside status and race and number. Oh, that's very good. The Labour's in the Navy. That means she can sail away from all the trouble, presumably.
Maybe she can deal with those boat people. So this is money. Would you implant a tiny? Let me restart this. This is money. Would you implant a tiny debit card chip in your hand? Forget fingerprints. Forget facial recognition. Biometric payments is the way of the future. So can you see this?
Yeah.
So
Well, it's already with us, isn't it? I mean, my I get into my account.
that is a chip
Yeah.
in someone's hand,
Yeah.
so you can go up to card machines and go like that, pay with your
Yeah,
hands.
I know about biometrics because I used to put my finger in, right, and I won't know it. But the trouble is, if you've got a little scar or something like that, it doesn't work. The other
Yeah.
biometrics, for example, Santander, my account at Santander, I have to put it's a voice thing. Your voice recognition. They say at Santander, what is your account number? No, they don't say at
Don't say
Santander.
your account number.
No, at Santander, your voice is your password. Say that. I said, at Santander, my password. Pretty good.
So all it takes is someone to do a good impression of you.
Yeah.
Or if had a twin, like, facial recognition.
Somebody's actually behind me.
Well, you know what? I want to try it. I want to talk into my phone, record it, and then I want to try to get your microphone. No, I don't want to see if it works. No, I don't want to steal. I don't want to defraud you. I'm trying to steal your money. But I think those chips are going to be very popular in the future. Not with me, to be clear. I think they're probably going to be one of the worst things that's ever happened. But I do see those coming in soon. Within the next 10 years, people will feel chipped in the metaverse. You can plug into your computer. And it'll be almost indistinguishable from real life over the next 10 years being online. Metaverse and stuff. Have you heard of the metaverse?
Yeah, I have basically for all just like me, it's something every day what doing it, isn't it? I've been having battle with the banks because they're not paranoid about fraud. I wanted to do a transfer from market cards to my voice one. I had all our questions and one of them, oh, you haven't passed the security. I said, what are you talking about? You just told me I have an A1 Oh, I can't see why. I said, well, you better think of something because I'm going to transfer my business to somewhere else. And I was outraged by this. You know, that I just want to do this. And they said, oh, we can't verify you. I said, you can't verify. You've got all my details there. You've told me I have an A1 credit rating. So I should be beaten down and given them what's known as a excuse my French.
Well, I think we should play a short video and then talk, and then we'll find something to talk about the last half of the show. Well, not half, but the last.
Oh, we've done the last half, haven't we? Don't we finish?
Well, we're supposed to finish at about 20 past.
What, 11?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Oh, did you have plans? Let me see if this works again. Battle of 1906. See if this works. It didn't work earlier. Hopefully it does now. Oh, it's looking promising.
My name is Alan Judd, and I am here to introduce you to the historic market town of Battle. Battle, so named because it was the site of the famous Battle of Hastings in 1066, although it's not in Hastings. We are in fact 6 miles inland from Hastings, and what better place to start to explain the history of what happened here and why, then the Battle Museum of Local History. First of all, we'll look at some of the weaponry that was used. Now, one of the most interesting exhibits in the museum, found at the site of the battle, is this axe head, verified as the kind of axe head that was certainly in use at the time. And this is what the axe head would have looked like at the time. This replica was made with the exact same techniques as would have been used in 1066. And this axe would have been used to kill men, not only men, I'm afraid horses too. The battle and the events leading up to it are very well known, and they are portrayed in the famous Bayeux tapestry, a copy of part of which is on display in the museum. The Bayeux tapestry is not the only tapestry that tells us about the Battle of Hastings and indeed its aftermath. A much smaller one was produced recently by local volunteers and visitors to the town. That tells us about the foundation of the town from after the battle in October 1066 to the founding of St Mary's Church in 1150. This is Natasha Williams, English Heritage Property Manager for Properties in Sussex. She's going to tell us how the battle came to be fought here and what happened. Natasha, why here? Why was the battle fought here? Why do we have the abbey here?
The story starts with Edward the Confessor, who was king at the start of 1066. He died in January and he didn't have an heir, so it left a vacuum for the Kingdom of England. Multiple contenders who wanted the throne. This went on for pretty much the whole year and then culminated in October with Battle of Hastings. This is what we call the battlefield now. Now you've got to remember, at the time there were no buildings here. The landscape has changed a lot and it would have been this whole area. The daffodils would not have been here. It wouldn't have been this bright sunny day, as obviously it was in October. So the landscape would have changed quite dramatically.
So can you tell us exactly what happened and where?
And as you can see, the slope here is very important to what happened. You can see a little bit of slope now, but you just need to imagine it went a lot further up because they levelled off the hilltop when they've got the abbey. So this is the spot that Harold chose to stand against William. William was coming from the coast, and Harold knew that he would be making his way to London. So he picked out this hillside because it was the perfect place to defend, and William had to come past it. He effectively surprised William because William didn't expect Harold to be here quite this way. So at the top of the hill, Harold formed his shield wall, and all he had to do was hold that shield wall until William arrived and battle continued.
Can you tell us a little more about the shield wall? What exactly it was and how it happened?
The Saxon shield wall was a traditional Saxon tactic for warfare. It's used it numerous times before and it was generally very successful. They would pick their battlegrounds, so top of the hilltop, the Saxon army would have spread out probably about a mile long, all standing with their shield in front of them, and they formed a very formidable defence. All they had to do was stay at the top of the hill. William was at the bottom. His challenge was making his way up the hill, bearing in mind they had all their armour on, they were carrying extremely heavy weapons. It was enough of a feat just to make it to the top, let alone try and fight anyone with that wall in front of you.
Natasha, can you describe to us what happened that day in October 1066 on this spot?
You have to use your imagination. So 14th October 1066, you had Harold's Saxon army at the top of the hill, and you had the Norman army at the bottom. Saxons with their shields wall, the Normans raring to go, come up, but it was a bit of a standstill. Etiquette of battle, who would go first? Now, one of William's jesters, a gentleman named Talbot, rode his horse in the middle of the two lines, shouting songs, mocking Saxons, a bit of warfare cried beforehand, and one of the Saxon army archers got a bit excited and shot him, which was effectively the start. The Normans rushed forwards. All the Saxons had to do was stand firm with their shield wall. And the Normans rushed the hill, but couldn't get anywhere. And this happened a couple of times before William realised they had to change their tactics. He came up with a plan. He got a couple of his troops to run forwards, but then retreat, acting fearful. He did this a couple of times until the Saxons got excited. They thought that they were winning, they'd made a breakthrough. The Norman army was retreating, and they followed them down the hill, effectively breaking the shield wall. And this was the turning point for William. He was able to now come around the back of them and attack them from multiple sides. Once the shield wall had been broken, the Norman army were more powerful, they had more improved weaponry, and they hadn't just fought a battle up in York like the Saxons had. So it was only a matter of time before the battle was decided.
We can say then that it all ended here. Harold was killed. It would have been surrounded by blood and gore and bodies and goodness knows what else at this spot.
Yes, well, should we go have a look? This is a typical spot where Harold was killed. A high altar of the abbey was placed here specifically to commemorate that. Now, when he was killed, his body was so badly mutilated. William, he was very religious, so he wanted to build something.
Okay, so we have got some words that the stream is not very good today. It's freezing a lot. I mean, we're having issues on all devices, on the phones, the iPads, other people who are here. It is the Wi-Fi at the devices. Acting up today. It was acting up yesterday as well. It could just be like a loose wire or something. I don't know. I personally don't know what the issue is. But we're going to end off the show here. We spoke about quite a lot. We've been going for almost an hour and 15 minutes. So, yeah, is there anything you want to say?
Fine. I think it was quite a nice debate between you, left of right of Genghis Khan, and me approaching towards.
I'm not right of Genghis Khan.
Me moving steadily towards Kyrgyzstan, according to Keith. I have no political views.
Well, you have no political views. Come on, what are you talking about?
Let me put it this way. Let me put it a different way. I haven't voted very much because I spent quite a lot of my life abroad, travelling and living in different places. And I couldn't be bothered to vote by postal ballot, you know.
Are you going to even bother voting this year? Is there even a point?
You're not allowed to ask that, are you?
Oh.
I will vote in
Well, I'm voting because it's the first election I can vote in.
Right.
So,
well, we're depending on you young people to do the right thing. Just to get shot at Boris.
us young people don't care about voting, so not many of us will. So it'll be all the old folks voting. So,
I think now that there's a very, very good chance that Lewis will actually get a Liberal seat this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there was one caveat to that, because then they changed the boundaries next year. You see, the voting pattern here is that Lewis is very liberal, okay, but it's only 19,000 people, when you add the real problem is Seaford, because they're all Conservative codgers there. We're going to vote for this critical woman, Maria Crawford, is not fit for purpose. Maybe though they will actually do what all the other Tory backwards would people and say, well, look, you know, we've really screwed up. We've really screwed up this time, and therefore, you know, I'm going to vote for Liberal. And a lot of people have actually been saying that. And I think this really is very marginal.
Okay.
Yeah.
When's the next 17 months now? The next general election?
18.
18.
In the June 19, 2024.
2023.
No, hang on. You got the thing in 2019, didn't it?
Yeah.
2019, 2020,
19.
22, 23, 24.
Oh, 24.
Yeah, 5 years.
Okay. All right. Well, next year I'll be able to vote for the first time. No, 2 years. What am I talking about? I don't know. Anyway, it's been a long day. It's very hot. Everyone's very worn out. It's going to get 40 next week. I don't know what the hell we're going to do during that heat. It's been Stuart. I will.
Goodbye.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.